month, NASM is giving you free courses. That's right, free courses each month just for being part of the NASM family. Learn about everything ranging from nutrition to strength, weight loss to stress relief, and everything in between. Click the link in the bio for information and to claim your free course before they're gone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Master Instructor Roundtable. I'm Regional Master Instructor Marty Miller here with my dear friend, as always, and fellow Regional Master Instructor, Miss Wendy Batts. How's it going there today, Wendy?
Oh, just living a dream, Marty. How are you?
Agreed. We're here. We're going to talk NASM again. So, life is good.
Life is good. We're talking Optima, y'all. If you missed it, you missed an unbelievable conference, in my opinion. I absolutely loved the sessions this year. And Marty, I don't know if you got a chance to check any of them out, but I know I have my favorites. Yours was fantastic, by the way.
Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I was going to say, but you teased everybody saying that if they missed Optima, did they miss Optima?
Yes, they did not miss Optima. You might have missed it when we actually went live for the first day. But if you want to listen to any of our sessions, guys, you can still sign up for free. All you have to do is go to NASM.org, and there is an Optima tab, and you still have access to listen to any of these sessions, again, for free, because we had some unbelievable speakers that provided some, just discussed topics that, in my opinion, they were fantastic. But if you need your continuing education units, you can still sign up for those as well. And that's one thing that I love about NASM is not everybody could have made those 3 days due to work, family, other obligations. So when you go in to sign up at NASM.org, there's a tab that says you can get them for free, or if you need your CEUs. I still think I think it's $199, and you can actually watch those sessions, and you have up to 45 days still to purchase this. And you have 60 days total to watch all of them from the last day of Optima. Last day of Optima, of course, was last Saturday. And like I said, it's a great way to increase your knowledge, great way to earn some CEUs. I don't know. It doesn't get much easier than that.
I totally agree. But, here's the funny thing. This is the 7th Optima. And, Wendy, you and I have been at all of them. So the first 5 were totally just traditional, where you showed up in Arizona and we had a great time. The last 2 have been virtual. So, let's kind of take a recap. And, we've been with NASM for over 15 years now. And, we both remember when we couldn't wait till there was a conference. So, maybe we go back in history a little bit and talk about what the first 5 were like, as far as, the advantages of being together and, how great it is networking. And then obviously we were forced into this virtual world. And, this is just my opinion. I see how these worlds may collide in the future, because of course we are hoping that we can be in front of each other again.
Absolutely. And to your point, I mean, yes, networking and actually, getting to put names and faces together, to me, I mean, nothing beats that. Of course, I'm a people person. I love to, give nugs, give hugs, like really get to know people and, actually see them each and every year, find out if they've applied any of the stuff that they've learned in any of their sessions, or, just to network, find out what people are doing, what's out there, what's new, what's changed. So that, face-to-face and the personal interaction, I mean, absolutely miss that. However, I mean, there's nothing better than being able to sit back and listen to the sessions that I wanted to listen to, go back after if I missed it, let's say at the time that it actually aired, I can go back at any time and still learn from those presenters. But I think the virtual, another highlight is if you weren't able to travel, because, you've got expenses, you've got to pay for a hotel, you've got to pay for the conference. I mean, there is a lot of expense to it. But, for me, my problem on the face-to-face side was there was always these sessions that I wanted to see at the same time. And now, like, the virtual component of it allows me to go back at any time and watch all of them if I want. And I mean, so I think there's pros and cons to both. I love it virtually, but I do miss the I miss the people.
Your peeps.
My peeps.
Exactly. And you know what? The one thing I can say is from the beginning of this, from the first Optima all the way through to this one, I know this to be true. This I can say unequivocally is there will be recaps internally with NASM. They're going to be taking your suggestions. What can we do better? It's always what can we do better? And, you know, whether it's the content, whether it's the format, whether it's you name it, NASM is passionate about delivering an unbelievable experience. So I'm only, confident that next year, no matter what the format is, it will be the next step up, the next iteration. So whether it's a combination of virtual and, live, depending on what the world's given us. But, Wendy, I'm like you, I always say this 2-dimensional format, I've learned it, but I'm a 3-dimensional guy. I like to see people, and we like to learn 3-dimensionally when we're doing the workouts and everything. And then of course, hanging out and get to know people, and the networking events are tremendous. And it's still good in the virtual format, but I think that to me, that's a gap that I can't wait to get back in front of everybody.
Yes. And I know if you guys get a chance, one of the things I would tell you to check out first and was the keynote speakers. And I say speakers because we had the chance to listen to our president discuss, so Lori McCartney is our president, and she went over all of the new products that NASM has recently launched, and then really talked about where the future of NASM is going. And to me, that is impactful because I want to know where are we headed in the future, because obviously things are constantly changing. There was an unbelievable tribute to Don Wildman. And those of you guys who don't know who Don Wildman was, I mean, he's the one that pretty much put music in with group fitness training. And so, I mean, he was very he was really thinking about how to bring people, celebrities and everything into the health and fitness component. And so I thought they did a really good tribute for that. And then, of course, I mean, I know that you saw this too, but we had Tunde, and Tunde is a Peloton instructor. And she, in my opinion, it was so inspirational. She's so motivating that, I mean, not just about getting on a bike, but just about life in general, that to me, with that kickoff, there's nothing like it. So if you go back and you watch Optima, start with the keynote, because to me, that kind of set the bar for what we were getting ready to, go over the last 3 days. And I just thought that I thought they did a really, really good job this year.
Yeah. And, we'll jump into my session. I'll start with that because obviously I'm most aware of it. And then obviously what our roundtable was. But I got the privilege of interviewing Jay Golson. And if you want some motivation, Jay Golson is, most people would know him from being the first ever Division I completely blind football player at USC back in 2017. He tells his story about how he met USC when he was like 8 years old, right before he lost his sight, because this was his kind of goal. And then he becomes a player for them and actually was able to take the field and snap the ball during a game. And he did an amazing job, and they did what they needed to do. And, he's graduated now, and he became an NASM CPT and CES during the pandemic. So he talks about how your biggest setbacks can be your biggest setup. So if you really want to hear about somebody who, he admits their struggles every day, like we all have, but he, I think, again, sets the framework on, why we're in this business and, how we can look at our life when we think we're having rough days. So another awesome opportunity I had there. So, but Wendy, if you want to talk about our roundtable that you were part of.
Yes. Well, for those of you guys that are just joining us today, I'm here with Marty Miller, and we're talking about what we learned at Optima 2021 that we just had. And, to your point, Marty, we had a great session with myself, Marty, of course, Ken Miller, Angie Miller, as well as Rick Ritchie. And we really kind of discussed a lot about the podcast and the webinars. I mean, we tried to put content out there for you guys each and every week, and they all have a little bit of a different spin. I think, obviously the roundtable, as you guys know, we really want to really talk NASM. We want to talk OPT model. We want to talk about application. We want to talk about how to best build your business and utilize the foundational components, the NASM and the methodologies that NASM puts out there. And then, of course, we've got Random Fit that I'm also a part of. And, there we're kind of talking more for the consumers. We're talking about random fitness topics. We try to make it fun, make it different, so it's not so heavy. And then, of course, Angie, mindfulness, and Marty's coffee talk, talking about, join him, ask him any question, try to catch him off guard, guys, try to catch him off guard. And then you've got Rick Ritchie that obviously is, he talks about research. He has great interviews. So we all try to add a little bit of something different for the network and then hopefully the viewers. So we went into a lot of detail about that, but I also had another live session, and Marty, I don't know if you joined it, but I got to do it. I did. I got to be a moderator, and to me, it was the awesome way to cap off the first day. We finished with our founding fathers, so Neil Spruce and Dr. Mike Clark. And to me, I loved that session. I mean, I was a part of it, but I was actually so engaged into what they were saying. Because those of you guys that are new to NASM, I really think, if you can go in and watch that live session, you're going to learn so much about where NASM started and how we actually got to where we are today. And we often forget about the history, and we think about just where we are because we're in the trenches of trying to do application. But if you see how much we've grown and the partnerships, international partnerships, and the support that we have, and how we became the gold standard, those two guys did an amazing job kind of bringing us back old school, sitting in a small room, sitting there with binders. How are we going to grow this thing? And how are we going to make sure that the research always supports what we're doing with the rationales and why?
And Wendy, to touch on your point, on the first day, Mike did an amazing session. And, you and I have heard Mike speak over the last 15 or 20 more years. But for those of you that might be newer to NASM, and you might have heard the name Dr. Mike Clark, but you really don't truly know how he created this and was the founder of it. He has one on integrated human movement science, the future's in your hands. And to hear Mike talk about what he created, 25 plus years ago now, and how it stood the test of time. I think that's an important session for somebody that now you really understand why NASM is what it is. So, I think that that's a great session to put on your radar if you've never heard Dr. Mike Clark talk, or if you have heard us mention him, but really don't truly understand that he was the creator of this when he was in college. So I always like to get people to check that one out if they're newer to NASM.
Mm-hmm. And when you think about Neil Spruce, for those of you guys who don't know Neil actually owned NASM when he actually got Mike to commit and bring the OPT model into the NASM curriculum. And Neil he used to be a bodybuilder, and he's really big on nutrition. He is now the founder and owner of .fit. And he, did some sessions, as well as Kat Bearfield, who also is a part of .fit, and she's one of our nutrition master instructors. And so you guys might see her on the Facebook page, but she talked about like fitness for seniors. She also talked about, there was another one that she did, I think on day one, that was like nutrition strategies for optimizing body composition. So I know there's been a lot of questions regarding that, but there was also a live session that was with Kat Bearfield. It was also with Michelle Ricker and Jacqueline, who are also our nutrition supporters and instructors. And they had a critical conversation, if you will, talking about clients and nutrition. And to me, nutrition is definitely not my strong point. And so I gained a lot of really good information, and they broke it down to where it was easy for me to understand. Because sometimes when you start talking about all these, protein synthesis and all this other stuff, I'm like, wait, what? And so I thought they did a very good job, all of them, with all their sessions. So if you really want to learn more about nutrition, you should definitely check those out, because all three of those individuals did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I was scrolling back through, and I think on the first day alone, there was 4 nutrition topics. So I think you probably, if you are passionate to go down that nutrition side of things, there's probably 6 or so or more throughout the entire 3 days on nutrition. But one of the topics that I can talk about is the one that I put together, and really for my individual session, and I can speak to a lot of the other NASM instructors, we try to look at what's going on in the industry, dissect it, get people to understand what it is, and then can we tie it back to the model if appropriate. So I did one on accommodating resistance. I called it all the way to the end because I also talked about, training to the end range of motion and how muscle gets weaker as it gets in a short position, but we do need to train an end range of motion. But honestly, Wendy, the main reason I thought of this one was I see people using, and I'm not saying everybody, but I see people using bands and chains in gyms, and I call it, because it's an Instagrammable moment.
Yes, I heard that.
And here's the thing, I'm not knocking it, but everything can be an Instagrammable moment. Just do it the right way and understand why you're doing it. And then it becomes an Instagrammable moment. So I tore apart what bands and chains are really designed for. And I went through the 3 strength curves: ascending, descending, bell-shaped strength curve. And like, for example, just keep it simple. An ascending strength curve is where the exercise gets easier. So like, think of from the bottom position, like a bench press. You're weaker at the bottom. And then as you move out of that position, if you can overcome that force, you get a mechanical advantage. And now you don't get as much quote unquote strength application, because you could only carry as much load as you could handle from that bottom position. So if I was to use a chain or a band, as I get past the sticking point, now the band or the chain starts to add more resistance. So now when I get into the mechanical advantage, I'm adding accommodating resistance. So that way I'm creating a better strength profile throughout the entire range of motion. And a lot of people would never maybe think about that at first, but I don't want to leave strength on the table. So now when you're using bands and chains, at least what I want to do after the hour was, okay, do you at least know the application of these with an ascending, a descending, or bell-shaped strength curve? Now when you choose to do it, you know the why.
Mm-hmm. No, I thought your session was great. So nice work there, Mr. Miller, not just because you're sitting in front of me, but I think you did a phenomenal job. And those of you guys that are just joining us, we're talking about what we learned personally, us, but then what you had the opportunity to learn with Optima of 2021 that we just had. Again, it's our annual conference that we have usually in person out of, usually in Arizona. But it's a great way to really kind of grow our network and just a good understanding of what's happening in the industry today, where it's headed, and then where we've come from. And so, Marty, with you talking about your session, there was another session, and not necessarily because I'm married to him, but I think Tony Ambler-Wright as well as Ken Miller did an exceptional job with the Hyperice products, talking about amplifying your client's recovery routine with self-myofascial vibration. And so they talked a lot about how to truly implement within our scope of practice vibration and percussion into, not just using a foam roll, but what the benefits are, and showed some great demonstrations and stuff. So if you guys are, kind of into like the new vibration because of all the positive research that you're seeing, I thought they did a great job. And that was, of course, powered by our partner Hyperice. And so I think that was an awesome one to check out as well. Because, breaking it down, talking about why it's not called self-myofascial release anymore, but technique, they go through all of that. And so with some of the changes that are new with our new CPT content, I think that one, especially on the flexibility component, I thought they did a very good job there.
Yeah. And, I had the opportunity to participate in one, I got to close out Optima. I was the closer on Saturday night with 2 great people. I got to spend some time with Andy Hanley, another fellow instructor down here in Fort Lauderdale, as well as our good friend Josh Gonzalez, and he happened to be on set. The interesting topic was, it was quote unquote celebrity training. And right off the bat, we kind of debunked it in the sense of everybody's a celebrity, right? Like, celebrities don't have extra muscles, extra bones. It's not like you have to learn other science, but we talked about, some of the things in the industry on, is this something you want to chase? Is this something that, is maybe not as glamorous as you think it is? Because a lot of people have asked those questions. So we listened and we talked about our experiences. And, Wendy, I know that you and Tony have trained some elite people and continue to. And the science is the science. Like, let's not get creative with the science, but it's usually more about what we say, what we don't say, what we post, what we don't post, and are we willing to be at their beck and call? So it was a fun topic for sure. Something a little bit different, but I enjoyed that one.
Yes, that was phenomenal. And those of you guys you've heard Marty and I talk. I mean, we've had experiences where we've gotten a chance to really work with professional athletes and celebrities and stuff. And to your point, I mean, if you treat them any different, they don't usually come back. And so, they're just like you and I. They have skin, they breathe in and out, they move just like we do. Sometimes they move better, sometimes they move not so good. And so I thought that you guys did a great job, because it really was about, maybe celebrities aren't as easy to work with as you think, because their schedules and the demand of that. And I thought the discussions and the topics that you guys talked about, you did a really great job, because I could truly relate. And so
There's a lot of sacrifices. Like
A
when I was in
lot.
professional baseball, it was a very selfish job. I loved it, but it was a huge sacrifice for my family. So there's that tipping point of what's more important, chasing this dream or being home. And, so a lot of people in their career, they think and they aspire, they want this, but I tell you, when you start having little ones, as Wendy,
Oh, yes.
the travel isn't as exciting as it used to be because you don't get that time back. So that was, like I said, we try to give. And when you look at the schedule throughout Optima, there's some that I'm still looking forward to going back. I saw some on stress. And you know what? I'm going to check out some of the yoga sessions because if we brought people in, we know that they're great at what they do. And that's not in my wheelhouse. So why wouldn't I expose myself to like something totally unique and different than what I, quote unquote, am comfortable with?
And then there's another one. It was Truly Integrated Athlete Pathway to Mastery. And that one was by Mike Watts. He's actually from Under Armour, and I had the opportunity to work with him and as well as some of the other individuals from Under Armour with some of the younger athletes that are getting ready to probably go pro because they truly are beasts in their respected sports. And I mean, I think he did a phenomenal job. And, and it's nice because when you guys think about Optima, usually you correlate everything about NASM. But the beauty about NASM and the OPT model is all of this information can be integrated into what we do. And having outside people that we can bounce things off of and them to bring in stuff from what they're doing that, they're outside of NASM, but yet it still fits. And so, I mean, I think he did a phenomenal job. And so if you guys, like listening to people with accents, he's one to go to for sure. But he's super intelligent and a really, really nice guy. But his session was one that you definitely want to check out because I really enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah. And, we all have things outside of the model that we like to dabble with. And when, I've spent a lot of time looking at cognitive fitness and things like that. And it's just something that interests me. And, there's a session I haven't gotten to watch yet, but it is on my radar. It's boosting the brain with cognitive task. I know I've talked to Ryan Glatt before. I'm looking forward to it. So it's just, again, as you said, there's no way I could have caught all these live, so I'm going to carve out some time to look at what's out there because again, maybe he's a guy that specializes in the cognitive side of things, but again, I can still put that tool in my NASM OPT toolbox. Oh,
absolutely. And, there was some on building your business. I mean, we've had, we had Andy Hanley and Annie Malthong on our podcast too, bringing in some business concepts, but, we also, have information from, it's MPE, right? I think they're our partners as well, but I mean, they did a phenomenal job. I haven't watched all of that. I just saw the very beginning, but again, to your point, I'm still going back and I'm still getting my continued education units because I know that I've got 60 days, but 6 days from the last day. So whatever that is minus today to review these, but I can't say that after looking at the schedule on all of the days, you get to know people more by just listening to them and listening to their concepts. And then, our lead researcher that was active in all of our content that's being put out there, Dr. Scott Cheatham, he's amazing. And he had some sessions. I haven't gotten the chance to watch all of them, but I know that he is going to be incredible because, I mean, again, he's the one that's doing a lot of this to back up what we're saying. And so, in my opinion, I think, Optima this year, it was incredible. I know I've said that 1,000 times, but I don't say something unless I mean it. You guys know me. I'm pretty hardcore. You get what you get with me. And I
can vouch for that.
Yes. And in my opinion, I think, I mean, from start to finish, it was incredible.
Yeah. And, I think what is interesting is NASM doesn't start the process of Optima in like August. This honestly, everybody that is on the live events team that puts this together, they'll take kind of like a breath here for the next week or two, but it already starts on the conversations for next year. And I know that I've had the privilege, and I hope it continues to do something at every Optima. I've already got my wheel spinning on what I want to do next year. I already have something carved out because of things that I've seen and some other things that I've been dabbling with, so if you guys have ideas that you'd like us to, if you saw that there was something we didn't talk about, you know how to get a hold of myself and Wendy, and we'll always be willing to pass that along.
Yes. And I hope, like I said, you guys check it out. It is free just to listen to these because, like, if you don't need continuing education or, well, I say units, you always need continuing education. But if you don't need the continuing education units, like, you don't have to purchase it. But I think it's, NASM, with them being open to provide, free access to these for, 60 days after the last day. I commend them for doing that, because it's not about the money. It's truly about education and continuing us to grow, to figure out where our niches are, where our weak spots are, and to really gain a lot of information. So, Marty, again, exceptional job on your sessions.
You
I
as well.
yeah. And if you guys saw me MC day one, just know I was learning
That was awesome.
Learning how to turn some stuff off. I'm not like, I'm really not awesome at it, but I had such a fun time.
I'm upset though, Wendy. I'm hurt. I was waiting for that call to go on Instagram Live and it never happened. I don't know why I didn't make the cut. I'm just saying next year I expect to be on the Instagram Live side of things.
Well, if they will have me to MC again, Marty, you will be first on my list.
I thought I was like, I would have. Anyways, I'm over it.
Bringing new people in a little bit. I mean, Tony, I live with, so of course he's easy access. Let's hit live and let's go, But yes, again, I want to thank NASM for putting on an amazing, amazing conference. I cannot wait until next year. And for those of you guys that are listening to us today, thank you guys for being a part of our family, joining us into something that we are super, super passionate about. And just, I hope that you guys get a chance to join next year. Hopefully it will be in person, but however it's delivered, I know it will be an incredible event.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just as a recap, you guys know we'll be here every Thursday. We've got some really cool sessions coming up. We've listened to, and we've always asked, what do you guys want us to talk about? So we have a session coming up soon that we're putting together that was directly from a question. And Wendy, do you want to maybe hint around to who we might be interviewing soon?
Yes, guys, I really hope that you stay tuned and continue to follow us, because we are going to have an interview with Dr. Mark Clark, who is one of the people we've discussed today. Again, he is the founder and creator of the OPT model that is in all of our textbooks, and hopefully is kind of the blueprint of how you're designing your programs. And so we would love to have you guys be a part of that, because he truly is inspirational. He's motivational. He'll give you a bunch of acronyms to remember. And we really hope that you guys join us.
Excellent. So Wendy, do you want to give your contact information? We don't have a slide for that, I don't think, today. So if you want to throw that out there.
Sure. If you guys want to email me directly, it's wendy.batts, which is BATTS @NASM.org, or you can find me on Instagram at wendy.batts13.
Oh, look at that. Our producer behind the scenes.
Amazing.
He is. We don't give him enough credit. So thank you, Eric. And then obviously, if he has hers, I'm assuming he's about to throw mine up there as well. So if I'm left out of this too, then I'm really upset. Marty.Miller. There he is at NASM.org. And then Instagram is dr.martymiller72. So check out Optima. Give us your feedback. If you have ideas for next year, let us know. And thank you all so much for attending. Take care and have a great day.